We good? Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church, Tullahoma. I'm Ricky. Today we have a wonderful speaker, Roddy Biggs, speaking for us, and he's going to begin the morning with a video and some opening words, and then I will follow it with the chalice lighting. So, Roddy, if you would like to go ahead.
Thank you, Ricky. I just want to make sure that we are recording because I did not see anything come up to say that we were live.
You said we're recording.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. It is so great to be with you. I am going to share a music video with you that inspired this song from one of our UU congregations in New York. After the video, I will share our opening words and we will move forward with today's service from there.
Why not every man? Why not every man? Why not every man? Why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man? He delivered Daniel from the lion's jaws, Jonah from the belly of the whale, the Hebrew children from the fiery furnace. Then why not every man? Why not every man? Did my Lord deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel, deliver Daniel? Did my Lord deliver Daniel? So why not every man? Why not every man? So why not every man?
Take a deep breath with me if that feels right in your body and listen to these words by Tina McCause. It is now that we are called to witness to this road, to mend it, to change its course, to restore it. It is now that we are called to act on our values, not to hide, not to fear, but to be bold and loud. It is now that we are called to continue our fight for justice, to organize, to speak up. It is now. Let us gather. Let us give each other courage. Come, come one, come all, everyone. Let us worship together.
All right, thank you, Roddy. I'm going to do our chalice lighting for this morning. And this is our monthly chalice lighting from the international or the global chalice lighting for the UU. And it's from Dorothea Kaufman. From the bottom of my very existence, I am pervaded with light energy, shining colors to my eye, warmth to my skin, inspiration to my soul. In this unity of creative sparks and sparkling creation, life unfolds. Let us open our senses to the light within and around us and send it out with the shining examples into the world. All right, and do we have any announcements this morning? Go ahead, Chuck.
Well, first, the Thursday night discussion group will meet this Thursday night. It's been kind of spotty the last couple of weeks, but we'll try it now that I'm home. So that's Thursday night at 7 on Zoom. And if you need the link, let me or Rick or Tony or, well, maybe Peter. Well, it'll be, well, if we do have it, it'll be after Peter's party, actually. So if it depends on when Peter's party ends. So maybe we won't have it. Sorry for all that. And then during Joys, I just wanted to mention during Joys and Concerns, I forgot to mention that one of the joys of our trip was in between Cayuga Lake and Niagara Falls, we got to stop off and have lunch with Colleen. Had a nice long lunch. Wish we could have spent a little longer, but we had a nice visit. So, and that's all.
Do we have other announcements? Jim?
Yeah, Peter had his hand up. So let's have Peter go next.
Peter?
Well, Chuck already alluded to the party. I just want to make a quick reminder that will be this Thursday, that is October the 14th, from 5 till sunset or till 7. So those of you who like to participate in the Thursday night discussion, they may leave and do that if they feel inclined to do that. So anyway, everybody's invited. Please let Cass know. She graciously agreed to help me with the coordination of things. I got a little bit worn out boxing up things for my moving. So anyway, I appreciate any help. Plus, on the actual truck loading days, we're going to be on Saturday. So for those of you who feel inclined to lend us a hand with putting in boxes into a trailer and so on, if you can spend a little time there on Saturday helping us, that is very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah,
so I have a couple announcements. So yeah, so following up on Peter's party this Thursday, we need to put in a order for the food tomorrow. So if you're planning to come and want food, we're having a kind of a box lunch sandwich thing. Let Cass or I know today, because tomorrow first thing in the morning we need to place that order. Second thing, if you can help next Saturday, Peter's planning to start at 8 o'clock. Let me know. I'll kind of keep track of who's coming, and so we know if we need to twist a couple arms and try and get a few more people to help. So
or feed you.
And also head count for food there also. Yeah, Cass is the food person. So so that I think that's it for Peter's party. We do have a retreat scheduled for Tim's Ford on the first Saturday in November. I believe that is November 6th. So more details will be coming out on that here as we proceed through the month of October. And also the COVID numbers. Things are looking good. Chuck, even though he's been on vacation, has continued to summarize the numbers and share them with the board every week. So we have gone from a peak of 126 like 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, I guess, down to like 77 to 54. Now we're at 38 cases per 100,000. So it's looking good. We really appear to be over the hump. And I don't want to be overly optimistic, but at some point here, we're going to reach our threshold when we can open the church back up to have in-person and hybrid services. So the board will be working on that and monitoring it. So I think that's it. But the COVID numbers it's going down. It's looking good. It's still out there. Be careful, but we're headed in the right direction.
Okay, and what about Pat?
And Pat Weiser maybe had her hand up. Did you, Pat? No? Okay. And I think Chuck wants to have another comment.
Just wanted to mention that, assuming there's no new variants or anything, first of all, continue to be careful, because 38 is still a high number. It's just not as high as it was, and it's still dangerous out there. So keep wearing your masks and avoiding large crowds and all that stuff. But if the current trend continues, and this is just a rough idea, that we might be down below the 10 threshold in, say, 4 weeks, and possibly below the 5 where we said we would open the church, and in between 5 and 10 is maybe. But we might be down to the 5 before Thanksgiving. So if things keep going the way they're going. So let's just hope they do, or better. As good as they're going, or better. We hope for it. So that's all.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Chuck, for that update, and also for the work you've been doing monitoring it. Really appreciate it.
Okay, do we have any other announcements? Speak now or forever hold the peace. All right, Roddy, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you all so much. It is so wonderful to be with you all once again. To make things a little smoother for you all, because I'm going to be using the altar behind me throughout the service as well, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight my video as well as the Chalice cam. That way you can see both together. So give me just a moment to do that, and then I'll get started. To begin, I share with you these words, the words of the Reverend Dr. Sophia Bettencourt. These words are from the 2018 Service for the Living Tradition, and are also in the 2020 publication, Winding the Circle of Concern. We are on a journey towards redemption. We have lived a year filled with lamentations, with the strengths of generations, the failures of the everyday, and the deep down gritty messiness that is our promise of salvation. There is inherent goodness that exists between and among us. I want to honor the weary, ragged miracle that is our living tradition. The traditional spiritual, why not every man? Didn't my Lord deliver Daniel that we heard a few minutes ago? Brought me to tears the first time I heard it, and is still known to do so from time to time. As a queer, BIPOC, young adult Unitarian Universalist, traumatized by the religious and non-religious past experiences of my life, and as someone living with mental health challenges on the daily, I can't help but to question, why not everyone? Didn't my Lord deliver Daniel? Then why not me? Why not them? Why only a chosen and select few? Why are these the only ones who get to be delivered, who get to feel fully welcomed and loved among us? As Unitarian Universalist, our views of the Lord, of God, of the holy, of the divine vary greatly, but our promise of a faith committed to love should not. Yet sometimes our best intentions have been known to get in the way of such a promise. Despite our best intentions, we fall short on our promises of radical, inclusive welcome and love. And when we do so, two things are bound to happen. The first being that we learn from our shortcomings, from our mistakes. We recovenant with ourselves and with each other, and we strive to do better, to be better moving forward. And the second, and the more common, is that we get caught up in the debate, the problem, or the challenge, and little or nothing gets done. Covenant stays broken. Division, pain, and heartbreak grow, and we lose the very ones who need us most of all. What we must remember is that as Unitarian Universalists, each person who claims and chooses our faith is on their own spiritual journey of discovery, of healing, of self and world transformation. And that Unitarian Universalism is no easy faith to be a part of. And few have ever said it is. In fact, in the words of Charles Montague, when asked of the way of ease of Unitarian Universalism, Charles had this to say: I assumed by the view that it was easy to be a Unitarian Universalist. It is as easy to be a Unitarian Universalist as it is to be persistent, courageous, and cautious. It is as easy to be a Unitarian Universalist as it is to search the murky waters of life without sure charts to guide us or any guarantee that we will find a safe port to put down anchor. It is as easy to be a Unitarian Universalist as it is to overcome the natural fear of the unknown and venture forth with nothing to sustain us, save our zest for living, our hunger for new experiences and knowledge. Our way of religion is not a way of ease. And so ends his quote. It is true that being a Unitarian Universalist is challenging and not a way of ease, that is for sure. But it is also true that our Unitarian Universalist faith is at its best when everyone is welcome to join us on their own spiritual journey of discovery and of healing, and where they see themselves, their beliefs, their values, their communities, their cultures reflected in worship and in service. But what happens when we as Unitarian Universalists fall short on our covenant? What happens when we, a collective body of spiritual journeyers, are no longer in right relation with one another? And when those among us who hold one of, if not multiple, of the most marginalized identities, belong to some of the most marginalized communities, tell our collective body of spiritual journeyers that they do not always feel fully seen, fully heard, fully loved, or like they belong among us. What then? What now? Didn't my Lord deliver Daniel? Deliver Daniel. Then why not everyone? Beloveds, this morning, I do not have answers for you. I would say I'm sorry, but I'm not. I do not have answers. What I do have are reflections and questions. I have reflections on my experiences as a queer, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous person of color, young adult, Unitarian Universalist. Reflections on my relationship with the divine, of God, and of the holy. And I have questions for each of us, but I'm not going to share those questions, for we are not ready for questions. We need spiritual resourcing for our questions. We need to become in tune with the spiritual suffering and life-giving love that communities, that queer communities, BIPOC communities, and young adult Unitarian Universalist communities, as well as all other marginalized communities, know, and they know all too well. So, beloveds, settle in, rest here, but just for a moment, as we have so much ground to cover. Growing up as a religious kid in the South, being raised Presbyterian in a member church of the PCUSA, my religious beliefs and experiences were much like those around me, including my family, my friends, and my larger community. Religion was, and to this day, is still a big part of who I am, although it has definitely evolved over the years as I have aged and experienced life. I came out as being gay about this time, 12 years, around the age of 12, about 14 years ago. And despite my young age, it was liberating. I was free to finally be myself. I was happy. And then the bullying started, bullying that would last for several years. Being a person of faith, of religion, I turned to it for answers, for guidance, and for help, only to find that I was not welcome, that I was not the child of God the church wanted me to be, and was indeed an outcast of the Christian church. I left the church and faith behind me soon after. I didn't need nor want that sort of pain in my life. For quite some time, I was agnostic, wanting absolutely nothing to do with the divine, not even giving it a second thought in my mind. Then I was pagan. Then kind of didn't know who I was, what was important, what my relationship with the divine, if any, existed. Then I got so involved in activism, like many of us, and found a new way of spiritual practice. And now, some years later, I am comfortable saying in Unitarian Universalist space that I am a mythic Christian. I am a pagan. I am a Unitarian Universalist, but not one for a very long time. You see, I came to the faith in 2017, and it changed how I see things. I am a Unitarian Universalist who has been hurt by the religion of my childhood. I am growing, healing, and learning to love myself, all while trying to find my place in this topsy-turvy journey that we call life. And in some ways, I feel like I know who I am and where I belong, yet in others, I don't. And sometimes it's even in our Unitarian Universalist spaces that my heart breaks. But I'm getting ahead of myself just a bit. So like I said, I didn't grow up UU like many young adult Unitarian Universalists. I only came to the faith in 2017 after not having a spiritual home for quite a while. After a challenging and upsetting outcome of the 2016 elections, I needed healing, and Unitarian Universalism is where I turned as I began my healing. And I have found quite a bit of healing in Unitarian Universalist spaces. So much so that, as many of you know, I have answered a call to ministry in it because I want to be a part of others' healing. I want to be a part of that journey. And I see Unitarian Universalism as a powerful tool in healing when led bravely, authentically, and with love. But I'm still healing. And Unitarian Universalism has still hurt some along the ways as well. It has hurt because I know we can do better, because I know we want to draw the circle wider as we not only build, but envision and live into a beloved community. But we aren't there yet. Some would say we're far from there. As a queer Unitarian Universalist young adult, and as a person of color, this realization that we aren't there yet is very real and painful for me. It is painful to feel like I must always explain to the very people who claim to understand, who say they get it. But so often, I find myself explaining my existence, where I'm coming from in Unitarian Universalist spaces, justifying my existence among these spaces. And if I'm being honest, that is hard. It is painful, but it is very real. When answering a call to ministry, I knew that this would be a reality that I might have to face. I'm just in the beginning stages of that formation. Yet, this painful reality, I knew would be potentially my reality, as it has been my reality most of my life in most of the areas of my life. So why or should Unitarian Universalist spaces be different? Despite all of this, naming all that has been named and things that remain unnamed, I still feel called to be a part of it, to lead Unitarian Universalism and faith into the future. Unitarian Universalism is a special faith in more ways than one. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that queer, non-binary, Black, Asian Americans, Indigenous people, people of Latinx origins, those with mental health challenges, and those with both visible and non-visible disabilities are all called to be a part of. One where they seek healing and find community. We as Unitarian Universalists owe it to ourselves and to all those who gather with us now or who might gather with us in the future to be better, to do better. We as Unitarian Universalists owe it to ourselves to grow, to change, to be involved in creating the version of Unitarian Universalism that I know and I feel like we can create as well. And with all of this named, and again, some left unnamed, when asked what a vocation in ministry means to me, this is my answer. A vocation in ministry means being a voice to and for all of those who have not yet found their voice, who have been told that they do not have a voice or that they do not belong, yet still long for a spiritual community and want someone. They just want someone to tell them that they are not broken, that society is broken, and that they are welcome here at this altar of life, just as they are, holy and sacred beings. So much has gone into this calling. Now, 5 weeks into my first semester of seminary at Meadville Lombard Theological, I am exploring what the future holds for me and all of my identities inside Unitarian Universalism. I am entering into unknown to me territory, but not fully unknown territory to my ancestors or to those ahead of me in their formations, ordinations, and ministries. And I recognize that I will not be where I am today, nor who I am today, if not for these ancestors, for those who helped pave the path and propel this ministerial path. And honestly, this faith for people like me. And for them, I am beyond grateful. I am grateful for so many people, far too many to name, to hold in this moment. But I will name a few, knowing that I can never name all of the names. I am grateful for the life, the legacy, and the public witnessing of Alondria Williams. May he rest in power. Many of you may recognize Alondria's name. Alondria served as co-moderator of our Unitarian Universalist assemblies for a number of years. What you may not know is that Alondria was a fierce Black individual who was phenomenal, groundbreaking in Unitarian Universalist Black and young adult communities, as well as queer communities. Alondria was a mentor and a dear friend to me. It was Alondria who first asked me, so Roddy, when are you going to answer the call? When are you going to become a minister? May Alondria rest in power. I am grateful for the life, the legacy, and the public witnessing of the Reverend Hope Johnson. May Hope with Alondria rest in power. Like Alondria, Hope was a powerhouse in Unitarian Universalist ministries. Hope knew what it meant to embody and to build beloved community at the same time. Hope lived her life as a witness, a profound witness to what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist in the 21st century. May Hope rest in power. And I am grateful, so grateful for the lives and teachings of Native Americans, those of First Nations, of all of the indigenous peoples who have come before, whose land we inhabit, whose land we stole and name as our own, though they would tell us it was never theirs, and it certainly is not ours. May they all rest in power. And for those who are living today, may we have conversations about what reparations look like for the lands and the lives that we stole. For these and for so many more people, far too many to name in this space, in this moment, in this time, I am grateful. May each of the beautiful, beautiful ancestors rest in power, and may we honor their lives and legacies with our own living until the final breath leaves our bodies. May our lives honor their lives and legacies, and may our missions be one of public witnessing in such profound and prophetic ways that everyone, and I do mean everyone, knows that they can embrace the Lord, God, the holy, the divine, and so much more, however, whenever, and wherever they wish to, within a faith committed to love, individual truth, healing, and justice. And in doing so, may we recognize, in the words of the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, that we are the theological inheritors on teachings of universal salvation. There is no winnowing out the supposedly unworthy that can be named sacred among us. It is our very universalism that is at stake when we turn away from the impacts that our institutions have on the communities and groups that society encourages us to dehumanize and make small. And so, beloveds, may we continue to always widen the circle of concern, wider and wider still, for there are so many outside our Unitarian Universalist circles of concern. May we embrace everyone once and for all, for if not Unitarian Universalism now, then who and when? How many more must suffer, feeling alone, unloved, or not important enough to be welcomed into the circle, to be seen at the altar of life and love? I don't pray often, especially not like this. But when I do, I do. And I make it count. And so this is my prayer for each of us this morning. May the words echo in your mind. May they reach deep down into your bones, right down to your very core. May they penetrate your soul. Lord, deliver me from pain, fear, and isolation. Deliver me from epidemic racism, white supremacy culture, homophobia. Lord, deliver me from the bonds of a society that attempts every day to enslave my soul, that attempts every day to deny me my voice and my rights, that I, alongside others, and with the help of my ancestors, have fought so long and so hard for. Lord, deliver my siblings in pain. Open the circle of concern wider and wider still. Help us embrace the pain of our past. Guide us towards our futures. Deliver me, deliver them, deliver my siblings, our siblings, as we draw the circle of concern wider and wider still. May it be so, because we make it so. Blessed be Ashe and Amen.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Roddy. You said you also had some closing words for us.
I do. So our closing words come from Alondria Williams. These words were written months before Alondria's life left this earth, but her presence remained among so many of us. We are worthy. not because of what we produce, but because of who we are. We are divine bodies of light and darkness. You are not worthy because of what you offer, not because of what is in your mind, not for the support you give others, not for what you give at all. We are worthy and whole just because in this great tuning, in this great pandemic, in this radical realignment, we are not disposable. We are needed. We are the very people who have withstood everything that life has thrown at us as a people. And as Maya Angelou would say, and still I rise. We rise from the pain. We rise from the grief. We rise from the limits people place on us and the limits we place on ourselves. We rise to be the children and the ancestors. We rise to be our true selves in relationship to our families and our communities, recognizing our liberation and our whole selves, honoring them and others as we strive for abundant communities, abundant lives, abundant relationships, abundant values, abundant love, and cultural manifestations. We are worthiness personified. I, you, we are worthy and deserve a life where we are not always fighting for our existence. Imagine what we could create if we were not always in the struggle. Imagine what we could envision if we could just let it go and get there. So tired of always having to resist, to fight, demanding, pushing. To everyone that has the courage, the power, the ability to co-create what we want and need while rooting in what we cannot afford to lose. You are the visionary. You are the hope. You are our ancestors' dreams. No, you might not ever end up on a list somewhere, but you are on the list in someone's heart and mind. And if it is not how you move through the world so that people see you by example, you are the embodiment of what we need. Thank you for being this embodiment. The embodiment not of productivity, but the embodiment of radical love, care, and sanctuary. It is time, embodiment time, embodiment, living one's values out loud. Let me live my values out loud. Let us live our values out loud, embody our values, not the productivity quotient, beyond productivity, past productivity, true embodiment, life. And so, beloveds, this ends our service this morning. May we be the embodiment of all that we are and all that we need.
Again, thank you very much for that. We are going to take a break right now. It is 8 minutes to 11, so we'll come back at 11 and begin our talk back. And again, thank you.